Well, Bayo Atebi is already in the house. Good morning, Bayo.
Thank you, Yusuf. Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning, Kingsley. Good morning, Nigeria. Thank you.
Kingsley, what do we have up there? You
We have the Punch, you have the Daily
Trust.
Well, so you want to kick off with Daily Trust?
Okay, let's get going. Now, on the Daily Trust today, on the front page, we have some few beautiful stories here, one of which is Akeredolu in narrow escape at Supreme Court judgment warning to APC, says Kiyamo. And the other story is on page 4, and that is talking about 18 million Nigerians infected with hepatitis, says the federal government. Still on page 4, Accountant General illegally withdrew 665.8 billion naira from special fund, says the Senate. The main story on the Daily Trust today is job loss, inflation loom as Bureau de Change, that is BDC operators, lament new Central Bank of Nigeria forex policy. And there are three riders there, one of which is Naira in sharp fall, scarcity hits market. The second one is banks ill-prepared to fill gap, says findings. And then an ex-CBN chief faults policy, says banks can't be trusted. Details of this can be found on page 5. Below, at the bottom of the page, we have on page 7, 6 herders killed in attack on Taraba Fulani community, says the police, page 7. On page 33, EFCC quizzes ex-Nasarawa governor, Al-Makura, wife, over alleged fraud. And on page 4, US lawmaker holds $875 million arms sales to Nigeria. But the photo story there is the one trending today, I believe, and that's talking about El-Zakzaki's release alongside his wife. And it says leader of shared group, IMN Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaki, leaving the court after the Kaduna State High Court discharged and acquitted him with his wife Zinat yesterday. Kingsley?
Okay, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The front page is pretty busy, and so above the nameplate you have the following headlines. IMF kicks against adoption of cryptocurrencies as legal tender. And Senate names Jonathan and Sambo in 665.8 billion naira diversion, demands refund. Congress cites Nigeria's human rights violations, halts attack helicopters and other sale. Congress, that's the U.S. Congress, cites Nigeria's human rights violation, halts sale of attack helicopters and others. APC congresses under threat as Supreme Court declares bonus chairmanship illegal. And an earpiece there is a special investigation by the Punch newspaper, and it's headlined, Imo's regime of bloodshed and mindless killings by troops leave parents, widows and children in agony. That's the first installment. You can find it on pages 16 and 17. The late story comes with a double-decker headline. It says, federal government lines up 36 billion naira for COVID-19 third wave and 4,261 cases recorded in 30 days. Two riders. Federal government told us each state will receive 1 billion naira before end of July. That's according to Benue Commissioner. Federal government and state officials meet next week, plan how coronavirus cash will be spent. Now, the photographs there on the front page, of course, go with the headline, IMN celebrates as court frees El-Zakzaki and wife after 6-year detention. And federal government moves to avert fresh strike, meets ASU Friday. Majority leader and commissioner escape attack as Nasarawa APC supporters clash. NYC mourns as 5 camp-bound corps members die in crash. We're in talks with bandits on 83 Kaduna Baptist students. That's according to the Christian Association of Nigeria. Wanted Randy bandit held in Sokoto, patronizing sex worker. Pages 4 and 5. EFCC grills Al-Makura and wife over alleged fraud as Nasarawa governor. Bayo.
Thank you, Chris. Let's start with the running story. The traditional ruler of Java, the Copham who was abducted from his farm within the precinct of Nasarawa State has been released. Dr. Danladi Gietmode was forcefully taken away from his farm at Dantiti, Gitata, which was around Panda in Nasarawa State. He was reported to have been released yesterday at about 9:30 p.m. And in Sokoto, the report which Kingsley read indicate that a suspected bandit identified as Bello Galadima was arrested by the Nigerian Civil and Defense Corps. He was found in the place where he was purchasing sex-enhancing drug at Aliu Jodi, a base, and the NCDC on the tip of scooped on him and arrested him. A motorist kidnapped in Katsina recently also confessed that a housewife who was within their custody was almost raped daily for the period of the 5 months she was there. There have been two decisions from the courts. First is the Supreme Court upholding the victory of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu for the October 2020 governorship election. The Supreme Court, in a 4-3 split judgment, upheld the verdict of the governorship decision at the Court of Appeal as well as the Ondo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. The majority judgment was delivered by Justice Emmanuel Ajim, and he dismissed the appeal by candidate Iyita Ojegede that the People's Democratic Party lacked merit. The minority judgment was read by Justice Mary Odili that held that the appeal should have been allowed as the APC was the principal and there was no need to join May Malabuni in the suit. The appellant, Iyita Ojegede, has accepted the outcome and has in fact congratulated Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has called on Mr. Jegede to let him come over, let us work together and work for the state. Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari, in a statement by Mr. Femi Adesina, has congratulated Governor Rotimi Akeredolu and he has urged him and all leaders of the governing party to always place the people first in the state. At another court in Kaduna, Kaduna State High Court has upheld the no-case submission of Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaki and his wife Zainat Ibrahim. The presiding justice, Justice Gideon Kurada, accordingly discharged and acquitted the two persons of culpable homicides and unlawful assembly cases they have been standing trial for since 2018. The court held that the case preferred against the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria lacked merit, in the sense that the court says that he was charged in the first place for an offense that was committed in the year 2017, when actually there was no such law. The law for which he was being tried was enacted in 2017, and the offense was said to have been committed in 2015, and he was arrested in 2018 and charged. And so the court held that the couple should be discharged and acquitted because there is no case for them to answer. On the side of the head count for sexual workers is going on in Bauchi State. The permanent commissioner for Bauchi State, Hisbach, revealed that they are doing a census of commercial sex workers to identify them and enable the state government plans to determine how they can be rehabilitated. According to the commissioner, he says those willing will be rehabilitated and be linked up with a family. Others will be provided empowerment skills and also seed capital to provide them to quit prostitution. The chairman of the Nigerian Hotels Association in Bauchi says that there are about 41 brothels operating in Bayangeri community in Bauchi. He commended the empowerment program, saying that that will go a long way to eradicate poverty and also reduce the rate of crime in the area and check the immorality in society. There is concern expressed by the ravaging of hepatitis in Nigeria. This was at the ceremony marking the World Hepatitis Day. The Minister of Health indicated that of all the hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E, Two are very prevalent in Nigeria, that is hepatitis B and C. And the report indicates that about 18 million Nigerians are infected. And the danger is that most people are in fact not very conversant with hepatitis B. The hepatitis B is an inflammation of the liver tissue, and it can also be very dangerous. The World Health Organization representative said that there are 90 million cases on the continent of Africa. The good news is that there is a vaccination available for children, especially those under age 5. But most people either are not aware of it or don't take advantage of it. There's also the report that Yusuf, you read about the pressure on the central bank ceasing to supply bureau de change with foreign exchange. The central bank, from his meeting of the monetary policy, the governor indicated that $57 million, which was originally allocated for the bureau de change, cannot be sustained. Accordingly, it has stopped. And there are indications that it is having repercussions, loss of job in the BDC, and also the Naira-dollar exchange rate is continually shooting up.
Well, I think that this is an issue that we have discussed on Good Morning Nigeria this week. We started on Monday, took it on Tuesday, and also took it again yesterday, being Wednesday. What I think is that the central bank itself needs to step up its advocacy on the issue of Forex, because the central bank governor has repeatedly indicated, and experts will also tell you, that the parallel market rate is not the correct rate for the Naira, that is the rate for speculation. And that indeed you have just a tiny percentage of Forex transactions that take place at the parallel market. That most of the transactions are through the official window, I&E, that's the import and export window. And of course, any person who needs to transact Forex business should go to his or her bank to make that transaction. The current rate is around about 415 Naira to $1 US. But why there is always public attention focused on the parallel rate is something that the CBN has to address through increased public advocacy. Now, in announcing that there will be no more supply of Forex to the BDCs, the central bank has made it clear after its monetary policy committee meeting that they are not scrapping BDCs. No. BDCs will continue to be in existence. The only thing is that fresh licenses will not be issued to BDCs. Now, how are BDCs supposed to operate? I mean, we have all had the privilege of traveling. You normally see BDCs at points of entry. That's usually at the airports, where you make quick, short transactions, and of course they collect money from you, and then of course they have a little commission on it. Not for you to engage in huge transactions for the purposes of either money laundering or otherwise. If you are an importer and you are a genuine importer, or you are an exporter, you go to your financial institution, which is a bank, which is what the CBN is saying at this time. Even though there are concerns as to the role that banks might play, because in the past, some banks were accused of round-tripping. You take money from your vault, people come to you and say that they want Forex, you say there's no Forex. In the meantime, you take the money out and you bring it back and exchange on the parallel market, so the parallel market is booming. The other issue was that parallel market and BDCs are not actually, they are not one and the same thing. So parallel market then became, of course, the hottest point for people to be doing their illegal transactions. So it's for the BDCs and the parallel market operators to, first of all, sort themselves out, because as the saying goes, I mean, if one finger, of course, is stained with oil, of course, it has a tendency of soiling the others. To the ordinary Nigerian or to the ordinary patron, there's no distinction between parallel market operators and the BDCs, which is wrong. Yes. So that is part of what needs to be cured. But if you now say you want to transact your business, go to the accredited commercial institutions. They are supposed to have tellers now. If you're having problems, central bank says, call me. But question to ask is, how effective would their complaints desk be in taking complaints and then dealing with these issues from time to time?
I think you're right. If we go back, I remember as far back as 1985, with your naira on the street of London, you will have exchange for pound sterling. That was when the black market was operating. But the moment they established Bureau de Change, everything was limited at entry points. And so unless that control is put there, you will have the idea of black market being abused and undermining the Bureau de Change, and especially also our currency being seriously undermined. The measure the central bank has taken is to protect the naira and also undermine the black market trade that is seriously undermining the value of the naira. Of course, there are economic challenges which, of course, is responsible for the depreciation of the naira. But those other black market transactions is very inimical to the economy.
Well, we think it's a good idea, Kingsley, but I think the central bank has to really step up its effort in trying to have more branches if they like, and then more enlightenment on this issue so that more Nigerians get to know what exactly the topic at hand is, and indeed more outlets, in order to get the Bureau de Change out and then have it operate properly.
Yeah, one point to also note about what you have just said. Look, what do you need Forex for? One of two things. PTA, which is personal travel allowance, BTA, which is business travel allowance. There are provisions for how you can get such allowances when you approach your banking institution. If it is to pay school fees, there is also an allowance for it. If it is for medical expenses, there is also an allowance for it. So why are you going to the parallel market? And why do we, because the obsession, and this is part of the reason why we are dealing with runaway inflation in Nigeria today. Again, a topic that we discussed, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. People will tell you, oh, exchange rate is not 500 or something, so you want to go and buy one orange, they will tell you that the rate of a dollar has gone up. The exchange rate, the true exchange rate of the naira is not 500 and something. That is the point to note. If I want to travel today and I approach my bank and my bank says that they don't have money, they will tell me why they don't have Forex for me. If they have not been supplied. And of course, I've been a regular customer. In other words, I maintain an account with you, and so on and so forth. It is, as somebody has also indicated on our program, hot money that is chasing US dollar, that you are having this parallel exchange rate. If you need dollars for pound sterling or any other convertible currency for genuine purposes, go back. And we should stop giving publicity. It's like the oxygen you give to terrorists.
Yes.
To this parallel rate, that this is the rate of the naira now, whether in your WhatsApp or other chat groups, forget it. If you want to transact business, let us see how the official commercial banks will work. If you are not working well, then they get a regulator, which is the central bank, to make them function effectively in dealing with our Forex matters.
Well, Kingsley, I think there are so many issues there, and I think Nigerians are listening. The
Central
central bank is listening to all money, institutional regulators, and everybody is just there. So we